Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy Dunblazer. I'm the Coalition of Visionary Resources membership chair, and this is my COVR chatcast. COVR is the trade organization for the mind, body, spirit industry, and we are very happy to have a magnificent guest with us today. Her name is Megan Murphy. She is an intuitive scientist and a flower and medicinal herb farmer. She develops flower essences, body and skin care products, and self-care practices for well-being. Her company is called The Backyard Beauty. So welcome, Megan. I'm so excited you could be here with me today.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
So you've got quite a few things. So why don't you tell us a little bit, first of all, about what being an intuitive scientist is, and tell me about your work with gardening. And I know you work with different specific health needs and making tinctures and different things to help people's bodies return to their balanced state. So tell me a little more about that.
Wow, there's so much there. Let's see. Your first part was what an intuitive scientist means.
Yes.
And to me, that means that I've been trained as a scientist through all of my education. I have a master's in biological oceanography and a lot of background in environmental science, and have been a field scientist and an educator. But I've recently delved into my intuitive gifts. And
Nice.
so I've been grappling with, how do I balance the science
Yeah.
and why and the explanations of why this is and how it's happening with inherent or intuitive awarenesses and abilities to get information from plants or my guides or other, anyway, the intuitive space in which I operate. Yeah, it's like existential questioning with, how to balance these things. So I've just been embracing that they can both dance together and complement one another. And I'm excited to bring more of that to the products that I offer and the services that I offer. Because I do feel that science is an important bridge for engaging people in what can be more of their experience and being more of their whole person in this lifetime. So I hope that explains a little bit now of what I think of that. So I'm embracing this role and, applying that to gardening and plant-based health. And, there's so much there with ultimately I'm realizing that it's important for us as a species to not just, first we need to connect with the earth as acknowledging that it is our habitat. This place sustains us. So that awareness, but also going beyond that and tending this relationship. This is a relationship we get to have with the earth. And so reinforcing asking the earth, what can we do for you? Not just what can you do for us?
Right.
So,
and I think that there's been no other time on the planet where we are truly recognizing that when planet Earth is sick, we are sick. We are all unwell.
Yes.
Like we can't be in balance if the planet isn't in balance. That can't happen. So we all have to work for balance for all of us, for sure. So tell me, everybody's been having quite a time right now with the pandemic, and a lot of people are gaining a lot of weight. I've been focused. A lot of people focus on food or focus on comfort or cooking, and that has some emotional. What's the word I want? Some nurturing for the emotional well-being. But how can we use what you do? Like, what would you recommend for somebody to better take care of their emotional balance without leaning on all of the other, food, alcohol, all those things that we have a tendency to in lower or lesser times. How could we use what you do to better help us manage our lifestyle right now?
So I think food is a great way, but perhaps, and like I was saying, tending this relationship with the earth, there's no better way to start that by growing your own food. And that does
Mhm.
not have to mean, you know, creating a huge space in your backyard. You might not even have soil in which you can grow food, depending
Right,
on where you live. But you can sprout sprouts in your kitchen with a mason jar and a lid. There's so
right,
many ways to start that in a small way that reinforces the gratitude that you get every time you do eat. It's like this
right.
process that happens that fuels us and sustains us. And so, even just practicing gratitude every time you sit down to eat
Yes,
is a great way to reinvigorate this relationship with nurturing and food. So, just kind
yeah.
of those are two ways of
Mhm,
doing something we do every day
mhm.
and changing it or reframing it so that it's a practice of gratitude or just uh, a possible way to reinforce your well-being instead
Absolutely,
of
yep,
take away from your well-being.
exactly.
But
So, I see here that you craft immune system supporting tinctures for every season to
yeah,
support daily balance. Tell me a little more about that.
yeah, that's primarily based on traditional Chinese medicine and this idea that we all have a mix of our own body and the foods we're eating. It's got its own energy and our own constitution. And then, the world out beyond us has its own layers of energy going on. And so the seasons have an overriding energy. So,
Mhm.
and that influences us.
Right.
So the tinctures are a blend. Every season has a blend of herbs that are this beautiful orchestra together that help every individual every individual's physical body feel in balance.
Mhm.
And that changes again with the seasons. So
Right.
um, the tinctures are just one way to get plant constituents and plant medicine into our bodies. And the beauty of tinctures is that most of the tinctures I make are with alcohol, some with apple cider vinegar, but most with alcohol. And that bypasses the digestive tract and goes directly
Mhm.
into our bloodstream. So if you have an under functioning digestive system, which most of us likely do in the United States, or anyone who has a predominantly refined flour and sugar parts of their diet, we're going to have an under functioning digestive tract. So the tinctures bypass that and get those plant constituents to our body so to help our body um,
Mhm.
be in balance.
Okay. And do you have anything that you recommend for like for somebody starting out with this who's never used a product like this?
Yeah.
What would they use it for? What symptoms or what experiences may they be having that would indicate to them that this might be something that would work for them? And what about allergies? Would that be an
Yeah.
issue?
So tinctures tinctures are extracts of plants. And depending on what's in your recipe, you can be treating allergies, you can be treating um, cognition. And there's so much that you can use plants for. It's just amazing to me that we don't use them more. And I hope we do more and more as we reclaim and our power, to not give our power away to doctors to tell us what's going on with us, but to reclaim our own power to um,
Right.
learn about ourselves. But the tinctures, the daily immune system support tinctures could be for any person. You don't necessarily have to feel like you have something wrong with you. It just helps your
Mhm.
body to stay in balance. And that's
Right.
what our body is amazing. And that's what it's doing all the time to maintain and support our functioning. It's working towards balance, and these tinctures just help your body be in balance. But if you feel like you have a scratchy throat and a little vulnerable, that's when you feel like a cold might be coming on. There's other things you can take at that time, like with echinacea and elderberries, for example, that kind of gets your white blood cells going faster and boosts, like, hey, we need to kick into high gear here to attack something more. So tinctures can be used for any, that's where it's so neat when you start looking at your own awareness of your body and how you're feeling. And then you're able to look at plants and see, well, what plants could best balance, help my body return to balance at this time. So, I don't know how to.
No, that's good. So what is one, like, I see you are working on a new series of 12 different flower essences using the Ami flower. Is that pronounced correctly?
The Ami, how I pronounce it. And that's, flower essences are different than tinctures. Tinctures are taking dried plants, or you can do, anyway, I use dried plants, and you soak them in alcohol for at least 6 weeks so the plant constituents get into the alcohol. And then you strain off the plants, and then you just have, I have one here actually, like, then you can put it in a nice little bottle that just has the alcohol with the plant constituents in it. Flower essences are, they're more energetic. They're capturing the energy of a flower, like a pristine flower, and you're putting that in water, and water takes on the energy of the flower's energy, and then it's that water is then preserved with some alcohol, but it's usually it's usually a solar infusion of the flower in water, and that's flower essence. That's different than tincture. And the Ami flower essence is it's specifically this, what I've been guided on how to create this, helps. There's a different sound frequency that's associated with each of the first 12 chakras. And so there are self-reflection questions that go along with this, but the first one is actualization, for example, for the first chakra. And there's some self-reflection questions about, feeling into a time where you have done something that you set out to do and you completed it, and so you feel into what it feels like to actualize. And then you take a drop of this flower essence that is the Ami flower essence at a certain sound frequency that kind of plays the music to your body. I think of flower essence as music of flowers. It's like reinforcing to your body, this is how that feels, this feeling. And it's like retuning your body to remember how it feels when it's flowing at that frequency. And so the whole 12 chakra process is a way to specifically support self-actualization. It's helping you, one who's intentional about wanting to clear the obstructions from their path, so that they can be their best person. And even to, I use the language of true north. I've read Carolyn Mace's like Sacred Contract. What is your blueprint? What is your purpose? Your anyway, whatever word works for you. But it helps an individual clear obstructions. It brings up things that might be getting in the way, and it helps your body to feel into the feeling of being your best.
Wonderful. It sounds like we should sell 1 million bottles of that right now.
Well, one of the neat things I learned from my guides is that it's something I get to gift. This is one of my gifts that I get to share with the world, and it's for people who want it. And then when they find out what their gift is, they gift that on. So it's the idea is it's creating a wave of gratitude to keep passing on our gifts and sharing them to support everyone and being their best.
Right.
Because we all do better when we all do better.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And so if a store owner is watching this today and they want to get these for their customers, how do they get a bottle of this, or several? One or several?
Well, reach out to me. My email is backyardbeautyil@gmail, or I
Okay.
have a Facebook or Instagram, and my website is backyardbeauty.net.
I've actually put all of that in the comments for anybody watching. All
Okay.
of the information, also her Etsy shop, and her website and her email and her Instagram is all on there. So that you want them to reach out to you any which way. And
Yeah, I don't presently advertise the flower essence piece, as I'm not yet sure how to market that, because flower essences aren't something that I share with the public yet.
right.
Even though I use flower essences in all of my self and body care, like all the tinctures I make also have flower essences in them.
Yes.
But I'm still working with just celebrating plants, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm so grateful to be a part of this community, because it's so exciting to feel like I can talk frankly and openly about the more of it. You know, there's just so
Sure.
much more. So
Absolutely. So I really like the idea of, for if anybody, like even if you're in New York City or wherever urban or suburban area you live in, to begin a relationship with a plant, and to sprout some seeds, have conversations with them. I love that idea, because I forgot what the name of this plant was. It had 40 letters in it. It was a huge plant name, but it was there were these three flowers, and I had purchased it, and I had it was I had some people over, and I had it as a centerpiece for the table, and I left it outside and forgotten about it, and it was a tropical, so it couldn't do direct sunlight and needed a lot of water. And I was sitting in the living room watching TV, and I hear this screaming in my ears, and I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, I had left the plant, and they were screaming for me to come get them, and I brought them in, and then they were like, "Okay, thank you. We just needed to be inside." But they were literally screaming to get in the house. And then I was able to keep them alive for quite some time. They in the end they didn't make it, but I think I kept them around for at least 6 months. So, but it was, and animals and plants, but plants especially. I never saw myself as somebody with a green thumb. But once you learn that they literally will tell you what they need if you'll listen to it, it's definitely an intuitive experience. It's a definite way to amplify your clairaudient ability or your channeling ability to access and really take in what a plant being is communicating to you. But they definitely do. And so, is there some sort of sprouting project that you think would be easy for somebody to take on who's never done this sort of thing before?
well, if you do have access to dirt, sunflowers are so easy to grow. They are happy to sprout
Uh-huh.
outside, and they bring so much cheer.
Yeah.
So I would encourage someone, if they just want to try planting something, try a sunflower.
Mm-hmm.
But inside, if you're in a small apartment somewhere in the city,
Mm-hmm.
sprout some broccoli sprouts or radish sprouts or
Mm-hmm.
alfalfa sprouts. Just buy some seed. There's so many places online that you can find good organic seeds for sprouting. And
Mm-hmm.
you need a mason jar with one of those lids that has like to be able to filter water out of. But you can do this very easily. I mean, we have the World Wide Web. There's a lot of easy ways to find how to sprout at home, but that's what I would try because it's a very quick process and it's delicious. You can add it to sandwiches and salads, and it's highly nutritious. So.
Well, that's wonderful. It's really been it's been a lot of fun to talk to you today, and I really appreciate you being here with us. Again, your company is named Backyard Beauty, and you can reach you at backyardbeauty.net. It's all in the comments. And again, thank you for being a part of COVR, and thank you for spending some time with me today.
Thanks for your time, and thank you to COVR for, I'm so grateful to be a part of this community. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's really wonderful to have this opportunity to get to know each other and let people really get to know you a little better. So thanks again. Have a magnificent day.
You too.